stretch and flow phonation. So for this exercise, you will need a tissue paper. A tissue paper would be something like you need, it's so long, and it should be, you can either have, if it's very thin, you can make it double like the way I have done it, because it's really thin. But if you feel that the tissue is really thick, then you need to just take one parchment of it and not very thick, because there are no prescribed guidelines, at least I have found. If you know about it, then do share it with me about the tissue paper that can be used. But they have mentioned it that you should not have it very thick also and not very thin also. So this is what I think is the normal for my demonstration. Idea over here is that get the patient to first produce a steady airflow. So it's the flow that needs to be produced, and then you stretch this flow. So this is how the name stretch and flow with phonation. Initially, it's just the airflow, stretching the airflow, and then stretching the airflow with phonation. So the entire exercise is in these three words: stretch and flow, phonation. So stretch and flow your air, the output of air, along with the phonation. So you need to hold the tissue paper between your first and the second finger, something like this. This is how you hold it. You need to judge the length of the paper that is good for you. So for me, I would just not take it so long. Keep it just the required amount that covers your face, and you can aram se hold it. So hold it like that in front of your face, and initially tell the patient that he or she has to just produce a steady flow of air. So you need to hold it like this, and what you need to make sure is, while the patient is blowing, the tissue is just going away from the face and is parallel to the back. So once the patient is able to produce a flow of air, just the flow of air, no voicing, no phonation, then you introduce 20% voicing and 80% of airflow. So very little amount of phonation comes in second step, that is like that is step number 2. Now gradually, once you feel that the patient is able to produce this, like the steady airflow along with phonation, so then you are good to introduce some words, but make sure that the flow of air is more as compared to the phonation. So the ratio is always somewhere around 30-70 or 80-20, where the greater amount is for the airflow which is coming. So it might sound breathy to you, but you are making sure that the air is constantly flowing and the patient is not talking on his residual air, or is just not phonating on the inhalation. So making sure that the entire laryngeal and the respiratory system is working in synchronization. So you go with numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you go from 1 to 10. With each number you must have seen that the tissue was going back and forth. So what exactly is this tissue doing? Nothing much. It's giving a feedback to you, to the patient. So ideally it's very much, but it's not actually a part that is maintaining the airflow or phonation, but it's a feedback. So just like how we did in cup bubble and in straw phonation, the feedback is really good because the patient is able to appreciate it better, you are able to appreciate it better, and the whole process becomes really much better. Having done with the numbers, now you move on to the step where you introduce words. You initially introduce words which have voiceless sounds in the start. So something like hi, hello, hot. So I use all the words that had H sound in the start. So that sound itself is a voiceless sound and it's produced with a lot of air. So it's again breathy. Then slowly you move to the voice sound, wherein the amount of airflow which is coming from my mouth will by default also reduce. So something like wa sound. So I'll be like wa, what, why, when. So I went like what, when, why, who. Slowly and gradually you build it up to phrases like something like how are you, So I said, how are you and what is the time? Once the patient is able to produce these phrases and you feel that there is constant airflow which the patient is able to appreciate from the movement of the tissue, and even you are able to appreciate, you can now say that the patient is producing the phonation along with a good amount of airflow which is flowing without any laryngeal tension. So this exercise also is really good for muscle tension dysphonia. I couldn't find much on these exercises like in the books or like in manual or anywhere. Whatever I demonstrated today or whatever I know about this exercise so far is from the research articles that I have read. So if anyone out there, like I'm really saying that if you know that in any book if this exercise is given in much better way, then surely share it with us, because we would really like to learn more. And I will be sharing the research articles from where I have studied this technique. Do check it out, and yes, I hope you learned something new. Happy learning.